Okay, so good morning to all of you. I will start with our PSM theory. Okay, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you all have network issue, you inform me. Okay. Okay, then last class we were discussing about environmental hazards, right? So Aliza, please read out the environmental hazard.
Environmental hazards is a substance at state on an event which has the potential to threaten the surrounding natural environment or adversely affect people's health, including pollution and natural disasters such as storms and earthquake. Hazards can be categorized into four types: chemical hazards, physical hazards, biological hazards, and psychosocial hazards. And I have to read all that points also.
Read out the hazards can be categorized in four types.
Chemical hazards.
And
Chemical
only chemical
hazards
hazard.
are hazards, biological hazards, and psychosocial hazards.
Okay, so deep. Yes, deep. Who is deep? Unmute yourself. Okay. Hmm. Virgreshri,
Yes, ma'am.
read out the chemical hazard.
Chemical hazards are one defined in the globally harmonized system causing acute or long-term health effects. They are caused by chemical substance causing significant damage to the environment. An example is zinc oxide, a common faint pigment which is extremely toxic to aquatic life. Other examples include petroleum products, acid, blues, etc.
Okay. Dhritiraj. Dhritiraj. Celesti Sangma.
Yes, ma'am.
Read out the physical hazard.
Physical hazard. A physical hazard is a type of occupational hazard that can cause harm with or without contact. There are many types of physical hazards. Some of them are as follows: cosmic rays, earthquake, floods, light pollution, noise pollution, UV rays, X-rays, etc.
Okay. Binam. Binam.
Yes.
Okay. Read out the biological hazard.
Ma'am, I was not present last class.
You are absent. Okay. Manisha Kumari.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Manisha.
Yes, ma'am.
Read out the
Ma'am,
biological hazard.
ma'am, I was absent. I don't have the notes.
You have to collect the notes. Okay. Take it from your friends as soon as possible. If you all come offline, if you all come to college, I will check one by one all your exercise copies. Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
before coming to university, you have to complete whatever I have given you because your offline class might start very soon. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
okay. Shilunok, Shilunok, Siti Debarma, What happened? All of your network is bad or what? Balu Chada? Okay, anyone can read out the psychosocial hazard? Any of you can read out the psychosocial hazard?
Yes, ma'am.
Read out.
Psychosocial hazard include stress, violence, and other workplace stressors. What is generally beneficial to mental health and personal well-being. It provides people with structure and purpose and a sense of identity.
Okay. Okay, so now let us discuss the industrial hazard. Okay, number B, write down industrial hazard. I guess many of you have network issues today. So if you are able to hear me also, I can't do anything about it. Okay, you just collect the notes from your friends. Write down the industrial hazards. Number B. Number B, you write down industrial hazards. Write down industrial hazards may be defined as industrial hazards may be defined as any condition produced by industries that may cause produced by industries industries that may cause injury that may cause injury or death death. Birgrishri, am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you collect the attendance, okay? Both your CR are absent today.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Produced by industries that may cause injury or death to personal to person person or loss of LOSS or loss of product or property or loss of product or property or loss of product or property. Loss of product or property, full stop. Types of industrial hazards are 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 number 1 chemical hazard, number 1 chemical hazard, number 2 physical hazard, and number 3 biological hazard. Chemical, physical, biological. Yet into psychosocial hazard is not there. Okay, in industrial hazards, only chemical, physical, biological, these 3 hazards. So you write down number 1 chemical hazard. Number 1 chemical hazard. We will discuss these 3 hazards one by one. Okay, so coming with the first one, chemical hazard, write down. Chemical hazards are produced by toxic germicides,
আমি hazards kita chemical hazards, physical hazards আৰু industrial hazards এই
biological.
তিনটা ন
Oh, এই তিনিটা আছে
Biological
industrial
hazards.
hazards ভিতৰত. Okay.
মেম আজি এইখিনি
হা?
মানে আৰম্ভণিৰ পৰা এইখিনি দিছে ন আপুনি মানে মই অলপ দেৰিকে জয়েন
Oh,
কৰিলো মানে
industrial
network
hazards পৰা starting কৰিছো. অলপ স্পেচ ৰাখি দিয়া লিখিবলে তুমি number 1 ৰ পৰা start কৰা chemical hazard.
Okay ma'am.
So write down chemical hazards are produced by toxic germicides, toxic germicides, GERMICIDES. By toxic germicides, GERMICIDES. So what do you mean by toxic? Toxic means harmful. Okay, so in bracket you write example you write down. Example, formaldehyde, FORMALDEHYDE, formaldehyde. Formaldehyde, formaldehyde, DEHYD, formaldehyde, and the end, aru eta likha, glutaraldehyde, GLUTARALDEHYDE, glutaraldehyde. Glutaraldehyde, GLUTARALDEHYDE, glutaraldehyde. And the end, bracket close kora, you close the bracket. Example, formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde, you write in between brackets. After you close the bracket, you write and sterilizing gases, sterilizing, STERILIZING, and sterilizing gases, GASES, gases. Example, ethylene oxide. Example, ethylene oxide, ethylene, ETHYLENE, ethylene oxide, 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 ethylene oxide. Full stop. Whenever possible, comma, less hazardous agents, less hazardous agents, AGNTS, less hazardous agents should be selected, SELECTED. Whenever possible, comma, less hazardous agents should be selected. Full stop. Example लिखा, example alcohol, example alcohol, 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 comma, ammonium compounds, etc. Ammonium, AMMONIUM, ammonium compounds, etc. Ammonium compounds, etc. Full stop. Change the paragraph. Change the paragraph and write down workers, WORKERS, workers should be trained on, workers should be trained on standard, STANDARD, trained on standard operating, OPERATING, standard operating instructions, 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 comma, safe working practices, PRACTICES, safe working practices, and appropriate emergency response, appropriate, APPROPRIATE, appropriate emergency, EMERGENCY, emergency response, RESPONSE, response. Full stop. A chemical hazard is a type of, chemical hazard is a type of occupational hazard, occupational, OCCUPATIONAL, occupational hazard, HAZARD, occupational hazard caused by exposure, EXPOSURE, caused by exposure to chemicals in the workplace, caused by exposure to chemicals in the workplace. Caused by exposure to chemicals in the workplace. Full stop. Depending on the chemical, comma, the hazards involved may be, varied, VARIED, may be varied, comma, thus it is important to know, KNOW, to know and apply the PPE, capital P, capital PE, PPE, all should be in capital letters. To know and apply the PPE, bracket open kora, and you write full form of PPE is, in bracket you write down personal, PERSONAL, personal Personal protective, PROTECTIVE, protective. E is for equipment, EQUIPMENT, equipment. Personal protective equipment. This is the full form of PPE. Okay, personal protective equipment. Close the bracket. Especially ESPECIALLY, especially working in the labs. Lab mane laboratory, especially working in the laboratory. Especially workers working in the laboratory. Especially workers working in the laboratory, 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 full stop. So you have written PPE, right? Personal protective equipment. So personal protective equipment or bitorat ki aha, you just below you write down PPE likha. Change the paragraph and write down PPE. PPE includes INCLUDES. PPE includes likha gowns, 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 comma gloves, 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 gowns, comma gloves, comma mask, MASKS, mask, comma goggles, 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 comma head covers, head, HEAD, head cover, COVER, head cover, comma respirators, 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 comma shoe cover, shoe, SHOE, shoe cover, 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 shoe cover, full stop. So eketa bostu, it comes under your PPE. Okay, shoe cover. So what have you written in industrial hazards? Okay, just see now. Industrial hazards are three types. There are three types in industrial hazards. Okay, they are chemical hazard, physical hazard, and the last one is biological hazard. So first is your chemical hazard. In chemical hazard, what you see that people, okay, all those workers who are exposed mainly to the chemical area, they are more prone to this kind of hazard, that is chemical hazard. Like for example, all those people who are chemical engineers, okay, all those people who are working as a pharmacologist, or else all those who are working in coal mines, or else factories, big factories, okay, iron steel factories. So all these people are mainly prone to this chemical hazard. So what are the chemical hazards are produced by some toxic or harmful germicides? I have given examples, formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde. So what is formaldehyde? Formaldehyde is a flammable and colorless chemical. Okay, it is a chemical hoy. Formaldehyde is a chemical that is flammable and also it is colorless. And it is mainly used in building materials like your plywood. I guess you know plywood, cardboard. Okay, plywood, cardboards. Okay, then boards, different kinds of boards. So in all these things, formaldehyde is used for making all these plywoods and all. We often use formaldehyde, and it is a flammable and colorless chemical agent. Okay, next is glutaraldehyde. In glutaraldehyde, it is mainly used as disinfectants. Okay, it is mainly used as a disinfectant, and in hospital setup, Okay, in hospitals, this glutaraldehyde is mainly used for sterilizing the surgical instruments. Okay, surgical instruments, whatever the doctor or the surgeon use during surgery, all those instruments need to be sterilized, because for each person we cannot purchase different sterilized different instruments. Okay, so only one instrument is used. So that instrument will be used for many people, for millions of people. So infection will spread. So because of that, we need to sterilize. Okay, sterilize means proper cleaning. It will be sterilizing in the form of boiling. Okay, all the instruments will be kept under hot water for boiling. Okay, so in all this, we need to put glutaraldehyde. So this is a chemical agent that is used for sterilizing instruments, surgical instruments in the hospital. Okay, and it is also used as disinfectant. So these two are also harmful for us. Okay, and some sterilizing gases are also present. For example, ethylene oxide is a sterilizing gas. So whenever it is possible, it is recommended to use less hazardous agents, like for example alcohol is also a less hazardous chemical agent. And ammonium compounds you will find mostly in for fertilizing. It is used mainly for in fertilizers. Okay, and next paragraph that you have written is the workers. Okay, all those workers who are working in chemical equipped area, they should be trained to keep themselves protected. Okay, they should be trained on standard operating instructions. Why? For their safety, for safety. Okay, and this chemical hazard is also, the other name of chemical hazard is also known as occupational hazard. Okay, next, depending on the chemical, the hazards involved may be various depending on the type of chemical that you are attached. So depending on that, the hazards will also be different. Like for example, if you work in hospital setup, so many patients will come, different kinds of patients will come. So there is more chances for cross contamination, for infection. Okay, so because of these reasons, PPE is used. PPE full form is personal protective equipment. Like for example, if you go to a tuberculosis center, so there are lots of people who will be suffering from TB. I guess you heard what is TB. Okay, so if you go in such hospitals where TB patients are there, you should obviously wear a mask. Why? Because TB is a communicable disease and you can also get infected. Because of that, you should always wear mask, and also if possible you should wear gloves while doing any kind of procedure to the patient, maybe putting an injection, giving a saline, taking some urine sample or blood sample. While collecting blood or urine sample, you need to wear gloves. Why do you wear gloves and mask? To protect yourself, not to, and also to protect others from cross contamination and infection. Okay, so in PPE, what are the list of PPE? Examples are gown. Okay, gown means which we wear gowns, dresses. It's not that gown. Okay, you will see in hospital that nurses and doctors and all those working in pharma labs, they always wear a gown. It is made of thin cloth. It's not even a cloth. It's like a paper kind of very thin material. Okay, so that is the gown that is used during surgery by the surgeons mostly, and the nurses assisting them. They always need to wear gown. Okay, next is gloves. You know what is glove? Next is goggles. Goggles means while doing any kind of procedure, so that to avoid contamination and infection, we need to wear goggles. Not all those fancy goggles. Okay, these goggles that you get in hospital setup is different. It will be white in color, full white. Okay, it is not that fancy one. Head cover. Head cover means, so why do we need to wear a head cover? Head mane tumar, your head should be protected from hair fall. You are doing surgery and you are having hair fall. That also it can cause infection to the patient. So because of that, before any kind of procedure, they wear a head cover. Nowadays, even all those, I'm just giving you simple example. Even on the roadside, when you see puska wala, okay, all those people who sells pani puri, I guess you know pani puri. So when they sell, you see these days that they even wear gloves also. Nowadays, they even wear head covers so that to prevent hair fall. Okay, because to cover the head from hair fall, you need to wear a head cover. It is also cleanliness. Okay, it is also for infection, cross contamination, and also to show that you are clean, hygienic purpose. Okay, because that puska wala will send puska to lots of people. To hair fall to me pale. In that puska, if you get a hair, you will feel so dirty. So for that also, for hygiene purpose also, head cover is used. Next is mask. Mask, so you all know what is mask. At this point of time, at this corona, we all are wearing mask to protect ourselves from corona and for preventing ourselves from infection. Okay, so mask. Tarpisot shoe cover. Shoe cover is mainly used in hospitals because you cannot wear your sandal and go to ICU. When you go to ICU or CCU, they will a certain type of shoe cover. It's made of plastic. Okay, tomar judar upside of your shoe, you need to wear it as a covering. Okay, that is known as shoe cover, so that outside germs cannot enter inside the ICU. So because of that, in ICU, CCU, mostly all of them need to wear a shoe cover. But in other emergency or beleg department, or you don't need to wear shoe covers. But mainly shoe cover is used in ICU, CCU, or PICU. Okay, for all those places, NICU, PICU, in all those places, we need to wear a shoe cover. Okay, so this is all about your chemical hazard. So next class we will discuss on physical and biological. My meeting time is less than 1 minute, so I'll end the class here, and many of your friends also, they didn't join, so I won't take that long. Okay, we will discuss on Monday. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Is it clear what I told, what I discussed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ठीक है.